Good evening, darlings. So what we're doing here is we're doing interviews out with the leadership of Rough Trade Gaming Community. One of the things that was mentioned in the survey is that a lot of people don't know who the officers are, who the escorts are. So we want to try to get like a one-on-one sort of personal interview sort of deal. So with us we have Hawkward. Hi, Hawkward.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are
Oh,
you?
excellent. All right, so I'm just going to be asking a couple questions. Some of them will be from the survey itself, and then I'll just improv a couple questions on in here and just kind of go from there so everybody can get to know you. So first up, what do you do here at the Magitaint?
Absolutely nothing. No,
Okay.
just yeah, I just kind of sit here. No. We, as officers, or what I do, essentially, we kind of handle the back end means. We make sure that the charter is always being enforced through regular FC chat or through our Discord chat, because we are, of course, all representatives of Magitate Mayhem. But we kind of just make sure that we all progress forward as a community with the same social rules and constructs moving forward. So
Yeah. Basically, with that, officers also kind of serve as, myself, Aiden Palazzo, I'm the guild leader for the community. If I'm not around, the officers help take care of everything for me. So basically, like, they're secondhand. No, no. It's fine.
no, we did.
It's fine. I don't do
No,
anything
we
other.
definitely do.
So I'm going to start off with a couple questions. They're all basic. What we're going to do is just to make this not so time specific. We're not going to focus really on what kind of content you're doing or anything, because by the time this comes out and people watch it, we might be in another patch and whatnot. So we'll just stick with some of the basic stuff. So, how long have you been a part of Magitane?
Essentially, since it's been created.
Yeah.
I think I joined a couple months late, and I think I joined like 2 months late, and that was just because I was off on vacation in Hawaii. But otherwise, I've been part of the FC ever since. Otherwise, the larger group of RTGC, I've been in here for the past 8, 9 years, something like that.
Yep.
So, quite a while.
Yeah, I think I've been in here like 9 years or so too, because we were both in World of Warcraft.
Correct. Yes, yeah. I did start out there.
Yeah, yeah. I started up around Burning Crusade, I think it was. Was that around?
Yeah, that's right around when I joined too.
Yeah.
How did we not run into each other?
It was a big guild. It was
way. True,
yeah. So, all right. So let's ask this. You can use either World of Warcraft or any of RTGC, or you could just stick with Final Fantasy. What do you think is your greatest accomplishment?
Ooh, honestly, probably. This is gonna sound really cheesy. I'm sorry, and this is not to toot your horn or mine. But honestly, becoming an officer for this FC, I would say, it takes a lot of work and kind of introspection to be able to say, like, hey, you represent a certain number of people in this community, in this FC, in this game, in whatever manner you want to look at it as. But to be able to say that, yeah, you're kind of doing this work for other people, that's pretty cool. And I'd say that's a much better accomplishment than anything I could achieve just in this game alone. So
That's awesome. You mentioned a lot of work. How many messages would you say per day that officers and escorts have to go through with me?
I'm so done. I can't.
Maybe.
It is a constant. I was gonna say conversation. The word battle also comes into play.
It is a battle.
But yeah, it is a definite, very constant back and forth between us escorts, guild leader, everyone, participating members, FC chat. It's you're always on the job. You're always on the lookout. You're always wanting to see how we as a community can improve.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't a thing where you're just like, oh, I'm signed in, I should maybe do officer stuff. No, this is an ongoing effort for all of us to constantly want to better the community.
Right. Right.
So, number of messages throughout the day, a lot. I don't really have a number for it, just a lot.
My guess is probably like 80 or 90 a day.
On a good day, yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
a good day. Yeah, good day. Oof. But yeah, so that's basically just a hint of all the stuff that leadership does. So you know, um, so going a little bit more lighthearted, of all the Final Fantasy characters that exist out there, which one have you related to most and why?
Oh God, that's hard.
Hmm.
You're gonna you're gonna ask me this right off the bat.
Uh huh.
Oh shit. Locke from Final Fantasy VI.
Okay. What is that?
Yeah. Um, God, I hesitate to even say any of this. Um, I don't know. You kind of meet him, and he's a jokester. He
Mm-hmm.
kind of you get this impression that he's just a kind of do whatever he wants and laugh along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of get to know more of his story, and it's kind of heartbreaking. You're like, there's a certain depth to him
Yeah.
that one can only experience through loss that you would not have pegged him for.
Yes.
And it turns out that's his entire driving point for why he's doing the things that he does, why he interacts with the certain people in his life the way that he does. And it's kind of refreshing in that sense
Mm-hmm.
to be able to come across a character who is upbeat and joking and likes to laugh at himself and other people and still have that certain gravity to
Mm-hmm.
his soul, you know? So
Right.
yeah, I'd say if you made me choose one right now, I'd probably say Locke.
Lock. Would you say that Final Fantasy VI is your favorite then?
Oddly enough, I'd say Final Fantasy VII is.
Okay.
I'd say 6 probably had the most intriguing storyline for me as far as like story and gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
7 just there's something about it. Like it was the turning point for the century. It was what got me into the series. There's a special place for it in my heart that I can't replace with any other game. But once I started going back through the series, I'd say 6 probably would be the better choice out of all of them. But yeah, 7's definitely what lured me into it and what kept me there.
That's awesome. What about in Final Fantasy 14? Are there any characters you relate to in that one? Maybe that one.
Real. Maybe. I don't know about relate to.
Or just like, yeah,
If I had to choose one that I like, it would definitely be Ishtola.
Y'shtola.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and that's I know that she's kind of like the flagship character for the series.
Mm-hmm.
To me in particular, I back during 1.0, like 9,000 years ago, if you were there for that. I started in Liminza back then, so Y'shtola was the character I was introduced to, and
Yeah.
to me, I know I've said this before in our Discord, in like social channels and such, but to me, it's inspiring to kind of come across a character who is able to win the hearts of others and is to prove their worth and their value, not just through means of brute force. When you first started, even in 2.0 as a character in Liminza, Y'shtola was able to kind of show you that, hey, she's here to kick ass and take names, but she's going to do so through white magic,
Mm-hmm.
through a means of barrier spells, through healing spells, through a means of just kind of protecting you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that I think is common nowadays is someone who can portray their worth as a means of just making sure that you stay alive.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that Yoshi P probably agrees with that sentiment because that's the character that was introduced into Dissidia of all the characters it was
Yes.
used to. So that's pretty impressive, you know,
Yeah.
especially the.
Very happy about that choice.
Yeah. Have you played it yet?
I've played the previous games. I am waiting to get into the latest beta for their game,
Yeah.
which should be in like 1 or 2 weekends, and I'm
Yes.
super stoked for it.
I played the beta. I'm sorry.
Oh, fuck you.
I know.
Damn it.
Uh-huh. It's. I really want 1 versus 1. Is all I'm gonna say. Is because
That would be cool.
yeah, because 3 versus 3 is a clusterfuck online. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Do that.
yeah. So, anyways, um, let's see. What do you think is your favorite thing about Final Fantasy 14?
Ooh. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the ability to change classes at will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of other people feel this too. I'm kind of an altaholic, so I love being able to switch to a different race, a different class, a different personality at will.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I always hated the fact that then all of my accomplishments, all of my achievements would be spread out between various players, various things.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Final Fantasy 14, you can kind of accomplish all of that on one player, but at the same time, I feel like being a cute little cat boy. I can't have all the mounts that I achieved in my previous game.
Okay.
And
So,
that's
so for the holidays, we have to get you Fantasia potions just so you can just like play your Altaholic thing all the way around.
yes, please.
I'm
Yeah.
Kitty Boy Hawk. I'm Rogan Hawk.
Hey, if I can do all of that in like the span of a month and not have to pay for it, I'd be so glad.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'd say that overall Final Fantasy 14 has done a great job of kind of consolidating everything that I would want in one character,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool. You know, except for being a fucking cat boy when I feel like it. Just let me be a cat boy.
Right. What do you think is the worst thing about Final Fantasy 14?
The fact that I can't be a cat boy.
Oh, I mean, you
No,
can be a cat boy.
No, the worst thing about Final Fantasy 14. That's actually a pretty difficult question. I mean,
Size of the SC? What?
no comment.
512 people. Hurry up, Yoshi P.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean, I've had my own issues with that as an officer, but we're not going to go into that. But no, honestly, it probably is the same thing that I love about the entire game, and it's the lack of individuality. It's the fact that you can be yourself all as many aspects as you want within one character, and at the same time also not be yourself because you can't experience all of that within one character. So double sword, there are certainly love-hate relationships with that. Also, my dog is sitting here trying to pet me. I don't know if you can see that.
Pet you?
Sorry.
Wow.
She's very dominant.
Oh my.
Anyway, I'm just gonna sit here and pet her. But yeah, no, I would say that is probably my biggest issue and or pet peeve with the game is that what they give us in terms of offering us that availability all in one character, they also take away in terms of that individuality. So,
Okay.
kind of a double-edged sword there.
Okay. All right, so I'll divert away from Final Fantasy for a little bit. What would you say your top favorite movies?
I'm actually horrible with this.
Are you?
Because, yes, in terms of every sense of the word media, whether it be music or movies or anything, I am horrible. just because I don't like to watch movies by myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great at listening to like music without the encouragement of others.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have a whole lot there.
Okay.
Movies, if you were to ask me of my favorites, also I'm crooked here because again I'm petting my dog. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, probably the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have or have not seen it, but it's basically two brothers who decide to take vigilante matters into their own hands. And they have kind of a comedic twist into it, but yeah, it's I would say that that's probably somewhere up there in my top three. Another one of my top three would be Rat Race.
Oh my God, Rat Race was amazing.
Yes,
Wow.
that one. Yeah,
I
I'm
saw
gonna
that at the
throw
movie
Rat Race
theaters.
out there.
I rated that when I was working for my student paper in college. Oh my God, I love that.
Lord.
It was so good. It was
No,
so
I
good.
loved that movie. I would watch that any time of day for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome.
Great
Um,
comedies. So.
so what is your what other video games do you like other than MMOs and Final Fantasy?
I tend to be kind of a pure nerd in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I love like just tactical games, RPGs. If you were to, yes, hi dog. if if you were to ask me of my favorite games of all time, they would probably all be RPGs or tactical games. Probably something like Final Fantasy VI, FF7, Heroes of Might and Magic 2,
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Age Origins. Oh my god, I loved Dragon Age Origins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, games like those, I tend to just kind of veer towards. If you can get me amazing character development, I'm all for it. So
That's always good. That's always good. Let's see. Um, what is your fondest memories spent with guild members?
ooh, okay. Um, wow. This is gonna be really cliche.
Okay.
Um, the fondest memories, I would say there are two. One of the fondest memories has to do with our bath area, which is why it's you shut your whore mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one reason why it's very cliche. Um, no, I just there's being and I know this is all in game, of course, but there's something about being in an open bathhouse area with like I'm sure you can hear that. It's my dog. She's very much so disagreeing. Um, but yeah, there's something about being in like an open bath area in game and just being that open with people and playing a game of Never Have I Ever
Mm-hmm.
or 20 questions or whatever game we decide to play in there. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something about that that's just very freeing and opening and just kind of leaves you vulnerable. Like, I have to answer these honestly. I mean, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to. You could lie about it, but then you're, kind
Right.
of a douche. But
Right.
but I definitely answered all of those honestly, and nice just to be able to do so, to be able to know that whatever answer I had at that moment in that space in that time would not be judged by other players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty friggin' cool,
Yeah.
to just be in a space like that. So that would be one of them. The second one was a situation similar to that, rather than being in the bath areas, we were actually outside. It was like this like encampment, this fireplace area that I'd created outside in our SC lawn, and Yuki was there. She was a former officer, for those who don't know, still part of the FC as of this moment, but she was dancing on top of the tabletops, and it was just like a group of us all sitting around her, and I managed to get this amazing screenshot of her character dancing on the table while all of us just kind of sat there and watched. And there wasn't any sort of event going on, there wasn't any kind of like interaction of like 20 questions or game or anything like that. It was literally just all of us admiring this sequence of events, this like all of us sitting around with this campfire, this lawn, this person dancing, and it was kind of beautiful in that sense to be able to like witness something like that. So that was pretty cool. I thought that like you could just create an area for people to hang out in, and then they just hung out in there.
Yeah.
Like no questions asked. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Have you met any friends in the game that you end up meeting in real life?
Yes, actually, the person who I just mentioned, Yuki, she's one of my closest friends, previous officer, and she and I and her now husband traveled to Boston to the Provincetown meetup all together, because she's just they're up in Northern California and I'm in Southern California, so we all traveled together. But I've met up with those two. I'm sure I will meet up with countless others, I hope, because you guys are pretty cool. So obviously Vane was there at that meetup as well in Provincetown, so I met him, as rather unfortunate as that was.
It was.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I feel more bad for him, if anything. But but yeah, no, I do wish to meet more of you guys as time goes on.
Yeah. Still won't forget that guild photo that we had.
I am trying my darndest to forget all about it. So
I'm sending a message out to him. Where are you? Get a response back. Hungover.
yeah, there may have been a guild photo that I did not participate in because I may not remember the previous night and don't know how I got back to my hotel room, but
well done.
That's whatever.
Okay. In terms of expansions, everybody's kind of hoping for what's coming up in. I kind of don't like this question, but how about I readjust this a little bit? Like, is there a job that's not in the game right now that you are dying to have at some point?
Dancer.
Yes.
Dancer. So much dancer. Oh my gosh, I want dancer.
Now, do you want dancer to be a DPS, healer, or tank?
Actually, no. I take that back.
Okay.
Ooh, hold on, because once you bring roles into it, I want a dancer just because it's dancer.
You just want to dance. You just want to dance.
Dancer. There is one in particular for a role. I want chemist.
Oh.
As a healer.
Yeah.
Hardcore. For those who have not played Final Fantasy Tactics, chemist is a very underutilized class, I believe, in there. They're given the long-range ability of using guns, which you can then customize guns so that they're elemental, so that you can have an ice gun, a thunder gun, fire gun, so on and so forth. Either way, it gives them a lot of range and the ability to actually be useful in combat. Aside from that, they can make amazing healing units because they can take a flask with a Phoenix down in it and throw it 500 yards across the battlefield and hope that the flask smashes in your face so that you'll come back to life. And I think that would just be an amazing sense to heal someone, is by running up to them and taking a flask of an X potion and jamming it and breaking the flask in their face and going, "You're cured! Congratulations!"
So you want glass shattered in people's faces, is what I'm hearing right now. Fantastic. Yeah. I also, for Final Fantasy V, I know that the chemist was in that too, and they had these potions that boosted up your stats, which would actually be really cool if you could do that in Final Fantasy XIV, because then you might be able to give the tank more defense, or you might be able to give the DPS more DPS,
And I think that's one way that they could perhaps utilize either like abilities, like one-time abilities, things that are off global cooldown is something that would buff up your potion or change the ability of your potion. And of course, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, well, you already have X potions in the guild or in the game. How are you gonna justify that?" Well, it's like, well, a base X potion would kind of heal you for this amount, but a chemist's X potion, ooh, as I almost knock over a glass, would heal you for this amount or have this added effect, something like that. And that's, I don't know. I think that you can certainly get creative with it. I think that they can certainly, I think they certainly have options for it. And I think just like tactics, it's currently an underutilized option that they have available to them.
Hmm.
So.
I agree. I agree that it would actually be a really cool idea, especially getting items involved in the whole thing. It doesn't even have to be um, items that you have to lose just to be able to put it on a cooldown.
Exactly. Like there's
Yeah.
a difference between having an X potion in your inventory and having an X potion as a chemist to use. Because
Yes.
obviously they're chemists. They can create something on the fly, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So,
Not bad. I like it. Um, when you're not in the game, what do you like doing? What do you do in your spare time? Do you have
work.
spare time?
I yeah. I I tend to be a workaholic.
Hmm.
That's really boring. I know. I'm so sorry. Um I as perhaps some of you or not all of you have known, for most of 2017, I was kind of just recovering from some medical issues I was having earlier on in the year
Hmm.
that were requiring me to be in the hospital for quite some time. Um, Now that I'm kind of getting back up on my feet, I'm spending whatever minute I can playing video games and being with my family. But
Nice.
honestly, most of the time I'm just sitting at home working because I'm a boring individual. So, but
Sweet.
yeah, no, I do love me my video games, and I very much so am a family man.
Hmm.
If you're not finding me playing some kind of RPG, I'm probably spending time with my 5 month, or not, sorry, not 5 month, 5 year old nephew. So
Nice.
I like kids. Sorry.
Yay. What do you of all the events that we've ever done in the guild, which one do you think was your favorite?
The one that I've been hosting. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I
oh,
know that. I'm sorry. I
shameless
apologize in
plug
advance.
everywhere.
I know. Shameless plug right here. I don't know if you guys have seen it or have heard of it. I like to host this thing every once in a while called Slap a Witch, especially during Halloween time. Although I do have it during off-season times every other year. But it's basically hide and seek, and yeah, no, it's just a lot of fun to have myself or other participants go hide in areas, whether it be main cities, housing areas, fighting areas. Just go hide in random obscure areas and have people come find you. So
And
it's
slap
been a
them.
hoot for several years in a row, and I hope you guys will join me for the next one.
Awesome. And this one's coming. Oh God, this year's going to be our 5th year.
Yep.
Five
Yeah.
years, half a decade.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, no.
We're that old.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Neither do I.
Um, do. How what was the best raid that you've ever been in? They can be 24
Just,
player or you can 8 player.
ooh. Best raid I've been in. So this is only because of one specific instance, one specific experience,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the reason behind this entire thing. It was Alexander 1.
Okay.
So the very first turn of Alexander. For those that did not experience it, basically you would face off between a miniature version of Alexander, and then at some point throughout the battle, a clone of his would come out, like another mini Alexander, all 4 legs and all. He would just come crawling into space. The reason that this particular fight comes into mind is we were stuck on this. This is A1, mind you. This was the very first turn of that segment, and my group just had so much trouble with it. We could not get past like the very first one or two phases of it for like a month, and our tank just kept dying for some reason. Turns out it's because both healers whom are in this FC, which I'm not going to name, but both healers had thought that they were healing the main tank, and no one had been healing the off tank for a whole month. And the off tank had, like, we'd had conversations and discussions like, why am I not able to keep aggro or keep threat? Why are people dying? Like, should I invest in this kind of gear or use Vit gear or what? And it was literally just because no one was healing him for a month to a month and a half. I'd say that was the most fun, just because it was certainly the most challenging, because how many times can you go to a boss and say that we're not going to heal this tank, come up with ways to go around that? So
This is while both of those bosses were going at the same time?
yes. Yeah. Month to a month and a half of us trying to figure out what is going on.
Wow. Well done.
We're a special group of individuals, yeah. And if you're watching this, you know who you are, okay?
Now, I know that you normally play a Dragoon. Do you like any other jobs or any other favorites that you have?
White Mage
Yeah.
is my go-to alt for a while during like Bahamut, like Bahamut turns 1 through 5. I was playing Summoner, so both of those kind of have a special place in my heart. But I really enjoy healing. I really like just supporting other members, and I really just kind of like watching that reactionary fucking crit 2 or crit 3 go off on people, because big numbers are nice.
They are.
But yeah, other than that, summoners are always fun because I kind of like having a pet. But yeah, otherwise Dragoon's kind of my life.
Nice. Not going to do a tank, huh? No.
I hate tanking. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I hated tanking too. I hate tanking so much.
I have a tank. I leveled my warrior and my paladin, and it's not for me.
No.
Sorry, boys.
Yeah. What is, if there was anything that players may not know about you that you would always be interested in letting people know about, what do you think that would be?
Ooh. I actually don't know.
No?
No, like I like to consider myself an open book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you guys have questions, come ask me. That's cool. But like something significant off the top of my head, I don't know. I got nothing. Sorry.
Got dogs and do family and kids and dogs and all kinds of other stuff and all that fun things.
I mean, I guess that would be an interesting point, is that I'm very family oriented. Like I have a nephew. He is currently 5 years old, and I love him to pieces. Oh, actually, hey, that's a good one. Thanks, Maine. Appreciate it, buddy. No, I've raised 4 children in my life since I was 12 years old. Yeah, I have a lot of weird family stories where, like, these are literally people that I've had to raise on my own. I almost failed middle school for all 3 years because I was raising children for all of it, and now there's a dog right here. Hi, Lulu. Anyway.
So you have another child.
Yes, basically. Yeah. Go. But yeah, no, I'm very family oriented. I love kids, and I'd like to have my own someday. But yeah, definitely, I've raised 4 kids in my lifetime, and I don't know. I think that's cool to just be like part of a family like that.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
There's a random tidbit about me that you might not know.
Haha. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for all of my questions. Is there anything else you want to leave people with before you go?
Um, as much as we don't say it, and as much as I might say the opposite because I hate all of you, I love you guys. Like seriously, this place is home to me. I've had people outside of this guild, like close friends of mine outside of this guild, ask me like, why do you do this? Why do you divert the energy and the time and the resources to this? And this is honestly home to me. Like I, like many of you, like many of your friends, might not have had the best childhood or the best, teenage years or early 20s or whatever. You guys might not have had the best ability to be raised. And to me, when I was growing up, I know that this was home. And if I can provide that kind of home for someone else like you or your friends or someone else that you might know or not know, who cares? I'd be more than happy to do so. So at the end of the day, this is home for all of us, and I just hope we can all make the best of it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Hawk.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.